All right. Welcome back to Under the Covers podcast. I'm Nicholas, and this is Charlie. How you doing tonight?
It's me. I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good. Gosh dang, it looks like a whole new day over there.
It is. Lions just won. Um, going to the Super Bowl,
There you go.
hopefully.
The Super Bowl's this week because we're going to relaunch this on Super Bowl week. Nah, I'm just kidding.
It
We're not going to fool you guys.
might be.
We're I won't pull the wool under everybody's eyes. We're doing a twofer tonight, so this is I look the same, just a little more. Been drinking a little bit more.
Episode 2 for tonight.
There you go. So, so we decided to.
We're under the covers, by the
We're
way.
under the covers. I said that right in the very beginning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's
Sorry.
okay. By the way, we're trying to keep ourselves in check because we did a couple podcasts, a few shows ago where we didn't basically tell anybody what we were doing. We just started talking to microphones. Didn't know what bands we were doing. So we're trying to be
till about 30 minutes in.
We're trying to be very vigilant. So thank you, Matt, for the peanut gallery comments, and we appreciate those. But here,
yes,
on Under the Covers, what we do is we take two songs. We take an original pop or rock and roll song or popular song, and talk about it. Talk about the band. Listen to a cover version of that song, compare and contrast, and then vote on our favorites. It's been a good go so far. This is episode 7.
Yeah, episode 7. Rocking and rolling. We got new mics. We got new headphones.
Technology wizards we are. That's what I'm gonna say. So this week, we're doing a cool song. You know what? I really dig the song, and we kind of fast tracked it because I was too excited about waiting down the road to do. I called you when I was traveling and was like, can we do this? Can we do this next before we do the song we were going to do? And it's Hey Hey, What Can I Do by Led Zeppelin. And the cover version is by the good old Hootie and the Blowfish.
Mr. Hootie.
I know. Isn't it weird that Hootie is like a person, like one guy in the band, even though there's like a real band?
Yeah. Yeah, and I was, thought he was Hootie, but Hootie's actually like one of their friends.
Yeah. But
and he's now like, they were super famous as Hootie, but now Darius Rucker is a star in his own right by himself.
I give Hootie the Blowfish and vis-a-vis Darius Rucker the John Mayer syndrome, where I really like something that they do and then I really hate something that they do. So I really didn't like the first song when they did Cracked Rear View, and then this song came out and I was like, all right. And then he became a country guy and I wanted to punch him in the face again, and I'm not sure where and their drummer, I don't like the way the drummer looks. I'm just gonna go ahead and...
No, is he the one with the long hair, like Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, he does. That's exactly what it looks like as Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, so I liked Hootie.
You kind of have to
before
like
hearing
Hootie,
the
right?
song. Yeah, I mean,
there's
like
nothing.
Let Her Cry. There's many other songs.
There are a lot of songs, and but I mean, also, so Led Zeppelin back in the day, actually, when Hootie was a big deal, Led Zeppelin was like my jam. Like I loved Led Zeppelin. I didn't like 80s music, and so my dad always had Led Zeppelin albums out, and actually here's a fun fact: is Led Zeppelin, the word Led Zeppelin was the first ever internet search that I ever typed into the internet. Yeah, I was in 7th or 8th grade in Reese Puffer Library and Media Center with my buddy John, and we looked up all the albums that were that Led Zeppelin made. And at that time, I didn't know that there was an E after the P in Zeppelin, so it was giving us errors. And then finally, a teacher would look at us and was like, "You guys are stupid. This is your favorite band ever. You can't even you don't even know the name."
That's crazy that you remember that. Like, I can't remember my first internet search.
Yeah, I think shortly thereafter it was probably a Weezer tab or something like that. But no, yeah, that was it. And John and I actually have talked about it since then, and he's a good
Nice.
buddy of mine. And like I said, we obviously go way back. Sorry.
Nice.
Um, so yeah, these are it's funny because hey, what can I do? Um, wasn't on an album proper. Is that the right way to say that?
Yeah. Yeah, it never made it to an actual album. It was a B-side and then made it to basically like compilations, greatest hits
Yeah,
kind of thing.
and it kind of is stunning that a song like hey, what can I do, which so many people know at this point, that it was sort of like not worthy to be on an album. That's how good Led
Mm-hmm.
Zeppelin's music and stuff was. Now, this was off of it was recorded around the time of Led Zeppelin 3, around 1970.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you know Led Zeppelin 3, there was a song called Hats Off to Roy Harper, which that song on the album was a little bit of a stinker. They probably could have put Hey, what can I do on there? But so yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Go
Well,
ahead.
even like the B-side, it was the B-side of the Immigrant
Yeah.
Song, which I can live without that
I'm the
song.
same way. I have in my notes. I was like, you know what? If there's one song I've always kind of like skipped over, it's that one. And hats off to Roy
Mm-hmm.
Harper. So, um, you know, one thing I've always thought about that's interesting about the Immigrant Song, is if you listen to it in headphones or even actually listen to it on a stereo, before the first like guitar notes, there's this like pounding, like boom, 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 and then it goes into the riff, you know. And I don't know what that sound is. It's almost like somebody's like tapping on the floor or something like this, and it's just the reverb thing. But I will tell you this: you and I both don't really like the Immigrant Song, but there's 684 million listeners on Spotify that have listened to that song. So you and I must be really wrong here.
Yeah, we're in the minority here. We're the immigrants for this one.
And actually, I added it up. There's more people have listened to Immigrant Song than the rest of the album combined. So yeah,
Wow,
like it's not like people,
that
yeah, which
I would not have
yeah,
guessed that.
which maybe people like fire up that album and they're like, nah, that song sucked and didn't listen to the rest of it. But the rest of the album is great. I really love the album. I like it that it gets after Led Zeppelin 2, it's a little more acoustic, it's a little more soft. And yeah, so it's interesting that they didn't put it on the album.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, and to your point, you know, Led Zeppelin is known as a real heavy bluesy band, and yeah, to go from the first two albums just all in your face to then make this album, but again, this one not making the cut, it's kind of
Yeah,
surprising
yeah, it is.
because I mean it's especially the way it ends when it's just kind of a
Yeah,
jam bluesy, but and it just kind of I don't want to say drags on because that makes it sound like it's too long, but the way it just kind of just goes into them just having
yeah.
fun.
I wonder, and this is just I don't have any insight, and obviously I'm just a 40 something dude, but I wonder if they were considering not having Gallows Pole put on there in this song, because they are kind of similar. There's kind of a beginning, and then there's this kind of like sort of end fade out jammy thing. Gallows Pole is a little
Mm-hmm.
more punchy and a little more two sided, I guess. But I wonder if they looked at it and said they're pretty similar. Um, so
Yeah. Do you think Jimmy Page looked at that 14-year-old girl and said she looked pretty similar to an 18-year-old
oh
girl
my
and
gosh,
I'll sleep with
ooh,
her?
got hot in this podcast. Like I not sure if that part's gonna make the cut or not. Jeez. Um, so let's get back.
I also heard that.
Let's get back to the album, huh?
All right, let's get back to the
So,
album.
hey, what can I do was re-released on the Led Zeppelin box set in 1992 as a 20th anniversary release. Maybe that's 20th. Oh, yeah, that is. And what happened is radio stations started playing it because it was on this album, and people started calling up being like, "Wait, I got all the Led Zeppelin albums and it's not on there." Um, and it spawned a big run on the Led Zeppelin box set, which is actually where I first heard it myself, because I actually had bought that box set. So
Yeah, is that the box set? Because I own a box set too. Is it the one that had like the corn
yeah,
cornfields? Um, what are they? Crop circles. That's the word I was
it
looking for.
absolutely is with
Yeah,
the shadow of a Zeppelin, and it
yeah.
was a great box set. So yeah, that's where it really started, and it's funny since I mean obviously it was out earlier, but I mean it's from 1992 to now. It's become kind of a standard on classic rock rotation. So it's pretty kick ass. The other thing, it was recorded at a place called Headley Grange, which is sort of a live-in studio in the English countryside. A lot of bands would go there. It used to be an orphanage. There was a riot there at some point, but it was a place where the bands could get away from, being in a proper studio situation, and Jimmy Page could probably be as weird as he wanted to be, um, because it was kind of out in the countryside. From my understanding, it's out in the countryside. I've never been there. Um, yeah, the whole band for sure. They all were doing something. Let's say that, and it was recorded on the Rolling Stones mobile recording studio, which is somewhat legendary. I don't think a lot of people know this, that the Rolling Stones back in the day didn't want to be in a proper studio, and they actually wanted to record at Mick Jagger's house, because they had all their illicit substances and wanted to just do whatever they wanted to do. And so Ian Stewart, who was one of the founding members of the Rolling Stones, said, "Hey, let's put all this recording stuff in a truck and just take it wherever we want." And it worked. Actually, it worked really well. So the Stones recorded "Sticky Fingers," "Exile on Main Street" on this in this truck. Zeppelin did Led Zeppelin 3, 4, and actually most of their catalog. The Who used it. Deep Purple recorded Machine Head, and Frank Zappa used it when they were recording at someplace that was almost burnt down, and it was actually the inspiration for Smoke on the Water. So there's been a lot of sonic, amazing shit going down through the Rolling Stones mobile recording unit.
Nice. Nice. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
That's
and
interesting.
they would just roll up with this truck. There's actually some cool photos on it. I think Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones owns it now, because obviously they don't. Well, not obviously, but they don't use it now. But man, wouldn't that be cool to be like, yeah, all these classic rock albums were on this truck. It looks like a kind of this. It just looks like a delivery truck. You wouldn't think it's very unassuming. But they had the most latest and greatest equipment on it, which was cool. So,
Nice.
and then
Nice.
Led Zeppelin 3 had one of the most iconic album covers, I think. It was sort of this pop art thing. It was a white album cover with these bubble letters, Led Zeppelin,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which doesn't feel right for the era. I don't know. What do you think? You,
No, it does seem odd, and especially with their other album covers, it just doesn't quite fit. But yeah, like, because that's what I remember from that was, I mean, other than like the colors they used in the bubble letters, like, wasn't it kind of like trippy looking, like film melting kind of colory
yeah.
looking, or am I imagining it
No.
wrong?
And then it had a.
But yeah, just the bubble letters was odd.
But the cool thing was, it has these cutouts, and it has a disc that you can like spin the interior of the album cover and see like different photos come through the cutouts. Had to be expensive. As a matter of fact, I
Nice.
think it actually, a lot of audiophiles don't like it because it has a little grommet to hold the spinny thing in there. So they don't dig having that in their big stack. But
No, that could damage some vinyl for sure.
yeah. So hey, what can I do? Hell of a song. Oh, did
Hell
we
of a
go do
song. It
sponsor?
reminds me of our sponsor. That's what I was gonna
Shit.
say. That it reminds me of our sponsor
Yeah,
today.
we dove right in. This is, and I feel bad for our sponsor, so we're gonna have to do this plug like 3 times.
No, it's okay. It's okay because they didn't say we had to do it at the beginning. So, but we can do our sponsor now that we've introduced the song and everything. So today we are sponsored by Don't Regret It, Forget It. Do you ever feel yourself saying, hey, what can I do? After making questionable decisions? Introducing Don't Regret It, Forget It, the ultimate remedy for those oops moments in
Oh,
life. This product promises to erase regrets faster than you can do the Misty Mountain Hop. Simply take one of our patent pending pills, and when or if you wake up all dazed and confused, it's like that bad decision never happened. You won't be left feeling like a fool in the rain with our pills. Don't regret it, forget it, because life's too short to worry about those "what the fuck did I do last night" moments. And I am required to say that these statements have not been evaluated by the FDA.
wow. Love it.
Yeah, I'm worried. I'm worried that the "don't regret it's just forget it's" are just straight up roofies, but they're paying us, so I can't judge.
There's what the folks that are listening don't know is that there was part of my the Taylor Swift episode that was cut out for being a little too how they say edgy. Now I'm not gonna say I'm not.
I thought about leaving it in, but at the same time, I don't know.
I dig it. I dig it. Well, that seems like a very nice vitamin supplement for people out there wanting to rid their past of certain things.
Yeah, regretful memories.
The nice thing is,
just don't regret it. You'll forget it.
Oh my!
It's in the name of the pill. You
I
won't
get it.
regret it
I
because
love
you'll
it.
forget it.
I love it. Whew. So.
Oh, I don't know where. So thank you for sponsoring us today.
What's the brand name again? I mean, we've given them an extended here look. What's the brand name again?
Don't regret it. Forget it.
You know who needs this? That pill actually is the ShamWow guy. Literally, truly. I mean, look him up. He probably needs the.
I think he died, didn't he? Or maybe I'm thinking of another one of those guys. Well,
stay tuned,
matter.
folks. While we're listening to the song, I will look up to see if the ShamWow guy is alive or dead. Put your bets in now, or put right in the comments. Alive or dead? ShamWow.
We can make that.
By the way, that guy was a hell of a salesman.
Are you talking about the guy with the spiky hair
and a little yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's dead. I'm thinking of another guy.
Oh, are you talking about the other?
Anyways,
are you talking about the main, the older guy with the black hair?
Yeah, I think he had black hair. That's who I was thinking. I think he died.
He's dead.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, and I think he died of a cocaine overdose.
I think you're right. ShamWow guy probably should be dead, but he might just be in prison.
All right. So, how about that?
So Led Zeppelin. Hey, what can I do?
Hey, what can I do? Song clocks in at feels like we did an edit there, but we're actually just uncomfortably changing the subject. So the song is 3 minutes and 56 seconds on the deluxe edition of Coda, which is the last album released posthumously. After John Bonham died. I'm not going to use a big word. You're the word guy. Posthumously. There you go. And it's on the deluxe edition of Coda online. It wasn't on the original, but it has 81,128,024 spins, 25 spins after you and I both play it, and it's by far the most on that album. Obviously, people like hey, what can I do, and they've heard a bunch. So
Yeah. Should we give it a listen and let everybody else listen
Yeah,
to it?
yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So again, we'll just state that we can't play it for you, so you'll hear a little musical interlude while we listen to it, and please listen to it yourselves. We'll put links in uh, the description of the episode, and yeah, YouTube and Spotify links will be in there, and hope you enjoy it. We'll be back soon.
Hey, what can I do? Wow. Uh, does Robert Plant kill vocals or what?
Oh my gosh, it's hard to imagine like having a voice like that to be able to just
Uh,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
he sings like an angel.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because it starts out relatively normal and accessible, right? I mean, want to tell you about this girl I love. I mean, it's just talking, right? It's not really singing. And then he hits those high, you know, punches. But then as the song goes, the song doesn't really grow that much as musically. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, it does, but it's his voice that carries that growth. And gosh dang, um, man, it's just so much power when he gets into that upper register.
Mm-hmm.
And most
Mm-hmm.
singers, like, they lose power, right? So he gains it, which is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Listening to their whole catalog, like you can just tell man, he
Right,
has a
right.
voice. I wonder how much that his how much power he puts behind his voice, how much that affects him, like now.
Well, yeah,
I mean, now he's probably up there in his
yeah.
70s, but I think he was still had that voice for a long
Yeah.
time after
And
Zeppelin.
I was watching some YouTube videos on I think it's called the Rick Templeton Vocal Academy, and singers like this can put their voice into distortion, kind of like a guitar goes into distortion. And obviously he did a lot, but to be able to take care of your voice, I mean, he did over a 10-year span with Led Zeppelin. And I think if you listen to some of Led Zeppelin's later live stuff, you can tell it was probably taking a toll on him. But
Hmm.
also, he's been around. He still goes at it. Now he doesn't hit. It's not every song is singing in this high register. He's done a lot of stuff with the lower register now, and um, but man, this one
Hmm.
here is just carried by his voice. One of the other things I noticed is that um, this the first, and she won't be true. The first big high part, he nails it. But the second won't be true is significantly quieter. And if I went back and listened to it again, and I think, and this again, don't know anything, this isn't factual, but I think in the studio he probably put the microphone into distortion because you can hear some clipping, which means that it went outside the range of the microphone. And when I say that, it's more about power. It's not the, the timbre or the pitch. So I'm wondering if the second and the third he backed off of it a little bit to get a little bit quieter, so it didn't do it. But the first one, it pushes that microphone to the limits, which is I mean, if you're pushing microphones to the limits. That's pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, and Jimmy Page produced this, which I didn't realize until doing some research for this, but he also basically produced all of the albums, along with other engineers and everything. But he always had like a say in it.
Make no doubts about it. Led Zeppelin was Jimmy Page's band. He came from the Yardbirds. He was even successful as a studio musician before that. And he really assembled these musicians, and they're amazing. I mean, listen to the whole entire rhythm section, and obviously Robert Plant. They're handpicked. I mean, they're his, and even I think his first contract. I mean, he got to keep all the rights to his music and stuff, and even back then, with Atlantic, that was not normal. But man, hell of a song. One of the things that I noticed about this song was I was trying to play it on my guitar, and I was trying to play along with it, and it doesn't fit into a normal key. It's somewhere between A and G sharp. And the funny thing is so I was like, man, that's kind of weird. So they must have sped it up or slowed it down or something must have happened there. And then I found some recordings that you can find on YouTube. They actually recorded this song in A, the key of A, and it was a little bit faster.
Okay.
And then they slowed it down and then put Robert Plant's vocals on top. So when you know that from the first episode, when you slow all those rhythm tracks down, some of the drums become heavier, some of the bass lines become a little deeper. But back then, it wasn't real science to slow it down to a certain thing. So it's somewhere between. It's really close to G sharp. But if you really start to dissect it, you can tell that the rhythm section and all the music is sort of like stuck in mud a little bit. It feels thicker than everything else, but then Robert Plant feels like he's on a whole nother level. And I think that's awesome how they were trying to get that feel there of sort of a backwater sound. It feels like we're in like deep Louisiana. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, so one of my notes here is that this song sounds super full, like, which I guess is another way to put like just real muddy, like it just sounds full of noise the whole time, of sound, of music the whole time.
Yeah, and I mean there's a lot of instruments there too. So you got obviously the drums, the bass drum, you got the bass, you got the guitars, but then you also put in things like the keyboards and the mandolin. I mean, a mandolin is very high, obviously, and so
it's very, very.
Every sonic level has something, which is cool. And again, that's something that they had to have consciously did in the studio. Which, by the way, singing at that song even higher, I'm sure Robert Plant probably had a say in that, saying, "Look, I mean, some of these high notes are even high for him." But when it's all said and done, if you listen to it on YouTube, just the music track, it takes it from like a southern Louisiana swamp vibe, which I feel like this one has, to like more of an Appalachia folk vibe. It's just weird because it adds 30 seconds to the song, so it's significant. It's a significant change.
All right, so I didn't listen to that one.
Well, it's interesting just when you start to realize how different just a little bit of speed, that tone just makes it feel. And then, in the end, I mean, the song, you were talking about how it kind of has this outro that's about a minute, a little over a minute long. But it kind of ends like, well, that was fun. I mean, because it doesn't, I mean, at the very end, like, it's like they all kind of just break down like, well, we're done playing now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it just goes to the mandolin, just playing a few more notes, just, yeah. It's a fun song. Like we talked about earlier, I'm surprised it didn't make an actual album over other songs um, the immigrant song that maybe that should have been the B-side. I don't know, but not according to Spotify listeners.
They're king.
So, we mentioned earlier the cover version is by Hootie and the Blowfish. You want to get into that?
No, let's get into it. Good old Hootie.
Points? Let's get into Hootie. Yeah. So Hootie covered this. It was on like a Led Zeppelin
Cash
tribute
grab.
album back in 1995. Cash grab.
You know what?
Yep. Well, the album was put out by Atlantic Records.
And so that's what I'm saying. It's an Atlantic Records cash grab. It's not a Hootie cash grab, even though they were grabbing cash. But
no, well, they were grabbing cash from Cracked Rearview.
It was right after they
they sold, I think, something like 16 million albums within a year or whatever, and so they were right up there with it, and they were with Atlantic.
And so it was a smart call from Atlantic to say, hey, let's take some of our top bands and let's have them do Encomium. I always thought it was Enconium.
Yeah. Encomium. Yeah, I had a hard time reading that one too. But I recognize the album cover. I think I might have.
And it means praise. I had to look up, which is totally appropriate.
As a tribute, you're praising. And that's cool. Is that Latin?
I just looked up on the internet. I actually looked over here at my screen and was because I thought it might still be up from my research here. But no, it's actually the ShamWow guy there. And yes, folks, fun fact, he's still alive and well.
Oh yeah. I saw that text. There's a weird picture in there. I don't know what that lady's
That's probably
doing,
not the best thing to have on his page, but especially when we thought he all killed somebody. But so on Encomium, Sheryl Crow did the song Dear Maker. Dear Maker? Is that how you say that? Is that how you?
I always
Dire Maker.
Dire Maker. Dire Maker. I've never really said it right. I think it's either.
Do Your Maker. Like if you're really deep English. Stone Temple Pilots. What? Go ahead.
It's like that Bron R. Stomp or whatever. Like that's another weird one. So those are probably all like Lord of the Rings references or something.
Stone Temple Pilots did Dancing Days. Duran Duran did Thank You. And the good old Rollins band did Four Sticks. It sounds like Henry Rollins that during that entire song he's trying to get a big old poop out. So pass that one up. The rest of the songs are pretty good.
But this version by Hootie,
oh my gosh,
it's fun.
It's great.
Yeah.
Hootie. Actually, this is appropriate for Hootie because Hootie. Darius Rucker, back in our hometown there of good old Muskegon, Michigan. He, I think he actually did all elements of Hey, What Can I Do? He had a chick. He was drunk. And he probably went to church there shortly thereafter.
Yeah, thankful that he didn't
Tell
get arrested.
That story. You got a good insight on this.
Oh no, so I only remember bits and pieces of it. But so we played a concert at our Muskegon Summer Celebration, which we've referenced before, and it was a fun show, really good show. Mid-90s. I mean, it was probably 95, 96, who knows, somewhere around there. And he got nice and lit up during the show, kind of like we did in the last couple shows. But what he did that we didn't do is steal a golf cart from the festival people and then crash it into a wall, into like a barrier, like the temporary walls. And I have a buddy, John, who was actually there volunteering and collecting cans or whatever, and he said he was literally there when he crashed into the wall, and they just kind of like got up and just took off like as fast as they could. And I think it was a big scandal here in our small town that a rock and roll star came and got wasted and stole one of the volunteer golf carts.
But we know the influence that Mr. Rucker has on the internet, and flexed his power, so to speak, to banish all instances or reporting of this instance off the internet, right?
Yeah, I spent like 45 minutes the other day trying to deep dive. And I used to be a virtual assistant, and Google's my best friend. And I know how to search with Google, and I could not find a damn thing. I talked to John. We should have him call in. Maybe we'll add his little
Right.
firsthand bit to this episode. But yeah, he had himself a
Yeah.
good old time here.
Man, in '95, he was, and we the Bluefish were just huge. And like I said, the Crack Reviewer album just took off. I mean, you couldn't get away from it. Fun fact here, there's some great songs on this album: "Hold My Hand," "Let Her Cry," and probably one of the most popular is "Only Want to Be with You." And in this song, he says, "Yeah, I'm tangled up in blue. I only want to be with you." And he mentions put a little Dylan sitting on your fence. And when they recorded that and it was all said and done, they went to Dylan's reps, and said, "Hey, we're mentioning these things," and they're like, "Yeah, no big deal." Well, when this album blew up, Dylan's reps decided to cash in on their own and sued the band, and so Bob Dylan is actually listed as a co-writer of "Only Want to Be with You" because of just these few lines. So,
Yeah. Well, he used lines straight up from
yeah,
one of Dylan's songs, but yeah, to your point, and I read the same thing that Hootie's management went to Dylan's management, was like, "This cool?" And they're like, "Yep, all good." And then all of a sudden they sell 16 million albums, and they're like, "Well, I guess it's not cool
you know what?
anymore."
The one thing I'll say though is that when you get to bands at this level, Hootie, Led Zeppelin, and your Atlantic Records and whatever it may be, like this does become a job and sort of a money making venture for these people. You join a band. You and I were in a band together for a little time, and that was fun. That was drinking beer and doing whatever and just being silly in life. But eventually, when you become to these levels, it does become a monetary thing. So when people say they're
100%.
sellouts or whatever, I don't know. I kind of disregard some of that talk because of we're just not in that frame or that sphere of orbit. But if you were, you'd be like, yeah, this is my job. I pick up trash. I play guitar in a rock and roll band. I mean, they're the same thing.
Of course, I'm gonna sell out because that means I'm making money. So
now
deal with it.
It's a really, 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 really kick-ass cool job. I've been fortunate enough to be in, behind the backstages and see some cool stuff. It's a really cool.
You referencing Nickelback?
Stop
right now.
Just stop. We're not.
I'm
always red, but it's we'll see that. So back to Hootie and the Blowfish.
Oh no! So I do want to bring up. So since we are a podcast about covers, I did not realize that the song "I Go Blind" was a cover.
Really?
Hootie covered. Yeah. So it's a fun song. It was a hit from the album. Not nearly as big as the other 3 or 4 we mentioned, but it's definitely one that got played. I did not realize it was a cover from a band called 5040 from Canada, and it was recorded in the 80s. And basically Hootie did it.
I love it that even in our conversations here, we're like, Hootie, like it's a person. It's one singular person. It's Darius Rucker, right?
All the Darius Rucker fans out there are going to be pissed at us for just calling him Hootie, but Hootie is more fun to say than Darius Rucker.
I'm sure that they eye roll though. I wish I knew this band to be able to like, do you guys like being called Hootie? And they were like, oh fuck, I hate Darius Rucker.
Yeah, they're like, we're the
What the
Blowfish, asshole. Fuck Hootie.
except the guy in the back with the fucking long
But,
hair.
but
Looks like Trevor
Trevor
Lawrence. I didn't know
Lawrence's
Trevor
dad.
Lawrence started out in Hootie and the Blowfish.
But yeah, so I Go Blind was a cover. That was an interesting fact I
Oh my
didn't
gosh,
know.
that's funny. So going to the back to the song, it's nearly identical runtime, which is a big, as we talked about in the last one. That was my first flag that says, hey,
Mm-hmm.
this must be done exactly the same. So nearly identical runtime, 11 million listens, so significantly less than Led Zeppelin, which is understandable. But here's an interesting thing. They played the song in G. So when we were talking about Led Zeppelin, they recorded it in A. And if you go down the scale,
Mm-hmm.
you go to G sharp, which is what it kind of resulted in. And now they, Hootie and the Blowfish, recorded it in G, which is much easier to play. It all uses all major chords. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, Darius Rucker's voice is not the same as Robert Plant's in any way, shape, or form.
No,
He's got obviously the
not
lot
at
more
all.
soul and
Still a good
doesn't.
voice.
It's still a good voice. It's great. As a matter of fact, it carries. I think it carries the song too.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot more. It has a different
Mm-hmm.
soul to it. And I think all that soul and those soulful notes, kind of are counterpoint to Robert Plant's power. Like Robert Plant decided, like, belt it out. Where Darius Rucker was like, hey,
Oh,
go.
that's a good point. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, because he knows he's not Robert Plant, right? So just don't try to be Robert Plant. So and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So maybe, do you want to add anything, or do you want to maybe just jump into the song?
No, let's give it a listen. Again, links are in the comments or in the out description,
Right
and
on.
we'll be back in a few. Talk about a
Yeah.
fade out.
The
I know, I know we're
one
huge
demerit.
fans of fade outs.
Yeah. I
Ah,
Man, there's nothing wrong with it, right? At all. I don't think, other than the fade out, the
mm-hmm.
8-minute fade out. That's not Hey Jude. What are you talking about? But they do a hell of a job. Um, Considering they got the
They do.
mandolin, they checked all the boxes.
Yeah, yeah. I I I don't like how it starts. Like I don't like how like
Yeah.
there's no fills in the guitar like there is in the original, and it just sounds real empty
Huh.
for lack of a better word.
I can see that.
Um,
Um,
there's also part like Darius Rucker's voice is great, and it's great for about 80% of the song. But there's some of the lines he sings that I don't like the way he he sings it
yeah.
in some
So
parts.
a couple things is yeah, they start out with that 12-string guitar, which they're doing to fill it out because they're trying to not do a straight rip off of Led Zeppelin. So I agree with
Mm-hmm.
you. It's a different. it's a different animal in the beginning. And I did run this through a voice isolation track for Darius Rucker's voice, and you can tell that he is pushing. He's really trying to just put some of that soul in, but sometimes I think Darius Rucker can kind of overdo it. Um, and he's kind of doing this on his back foot. He's kind of behind the beat a little bit. He's trying to be a little just like he's just kind of trying to half casually sing this song versus Robert Plant, which he
Okay.
he does it both ways. He's like, here's my casual part, and then I'm gonna punch you right in the face with this moment, and that doesn't happen in this song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it doesn't. And it kind of reminds me of the whole Taylor Swift. Hey.
Yeah.
This song actually has "Hey" in the title, and Darius Rucker definitely, Hootie definitely doesn't just
Yeah.
"Hey."
They definitely don't. Hey. So yeah, I mean, but it, like I said, it's a serviceable song. I think they achieved everything they should have done,
Mm-hmm.
which is extend their you know run, because they had a hugely successful album. They put it on a cover album, and then I think there was another album that came after this that was their own, Fairweather or something or another, and that was a pretty big one too. So yeah, I mean, for what they did, I mean,
Yeah, it's a good song to listen to. There's nothing like, if I'm not comparing it to the
yeah,
original, it's a great song. I I enjoy listening to it. I could listen to it again multiple times. But yeah, if I am comparing it to the original,
yeah.
it's got its flaws.
It's sort of like if the original was the Godfather of movies, right? Then this would be like a romantic comedy. It there it's an okay movie. It's kind of like, just listen to it. But I feel like I could listen to this at Walmart and be okay. And it'd be like,
Yeah, it's like the Netflix and chill of songs.
yes, exactly.
I'm kind of I'm also kind of showing
Oh,
my hand here
I think we
already.
both are. I
Sorry.
think we both are. But do we want to do
Um,
another plug of our today's sponsor since we did it halfway in, or we just want to get right to it?
I mean, we can get right to it. I mean, we talked about, a non-FDA approved drug enough.
I mean, there's nothing I want to do but ball all day, and then forget about it the next day. But well,
Well, I'll get you in touch with the reps. Like, we could get a deal.
well, look. Go ahead. I mean, this is your gig, right?
Yeah, I guess it's my turn to go first. Again, I showed my hand already. Um, Hootie's version was great, serviceable. It's fun to listen to. If I'm not comparing it to the original, it's a great song. Um, but there is just that Robert Plant voice, those vocals, and then just the way the band just is so cohesive and together, and the sound is fuller. Yeah, I picked Led Zeppelin's version
Yeah.
for the win here.
I'm with you too. I'm not even going to belabor it. I typically go band by band, but Led Zeppelin is one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, and their musicianship was
Hmm.
so multifaceted. I mean, Jimmy Page um, came from country music and understands how to construct a song. John Paul Jones, the bassist, uh, look, today he's doing symphonies and things like that. Robert Plant, one of the greatest vocalists of all time, if not the. And John Bonham, people recognize
Hmm.
him for the heavy and accurate things that he can do, but he knew how to play to a song as well, and this is
Hmm.
it. And then you add in the production, and it's just um, it's hard to believe that even Led Zeppelin's Junk uh, is a classic, right? I mean, so
Yeah,
yeah, Led Zeppelin straight up. But I'm glad we bring
yeah.
up these types of songs, even though this one was for us and our opinions as a landslide winner. Look, I don't think people remembered this at that party tonight or a party tonight, um, and I said this is one of the songs that we were doing, and somebody was like, Hootie and the Blowfish does that song. I mean, people have long forgotten about encomium, or and even at times Hootie and the Blowfish until you hear their name. I mean, and so it's cool that we do these types of songs, so people can listen to them and you know, fill 3 minutes and 56 seconds of their day. I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hootie's a band that doesn't come up in my mind a lot, and when we decided to do this song, I listened to the whole album, Crack Rear View, and it's a fun album to listen to. It brings back memories. It has a little nostalgic feeling for me. Growing up in the mid '90s, and
Yeah,
it holds up. So yeah, I like what we're doing here. Even with the last episode, when I was editing it, and you were talking about Taylor Swift and how you're just, I hate Taylor Swift. You even kind of
I did.
changed your tune on that. I'm not saying you listen to Taylor Swift now, but we're even introducing each other to new music. So hopefully our listeners out there get something out of
And
this as
again,
well.
thank you to all of our listeners and friends and family that are listening to these things and giving us feedback. We want to continue to evolve and get better, and we've got lofty goals this year to do a bunch more songs, and we like the positives and negatives, and it's only going to make us better, and but it's also been fun. So thanks, Charlie.
Yeah.
For pulling these things together, and
thank you, Nick.
and if you guys have a different opinion, let us know in our comments. Let us know which one you like better, or if there's anything we missed. And you know what? If you really want to have a good time, go ahead and subscribe to the ShamWow guys Instagram, because that looks scary as shit. So we'll see where that goes. He's gonna have
subscribe to our channels first.
Yeah, he's gonna have a rash of new subscribers because we got so many right now. Our goal is to get to 263 subscribers at this point. So we have our own motivations. So please like and subscribe, share, and we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next time. There you go.
Yeah, we'll be back soon.
All right.
Love
Over
you.
and out. Bye.